said last week, today we are looking specifically at survivors' benefits and how the PACT Act might be able to help. Hello and welcome to NWA Vet Presents. The PACT Act and survivors' benefits. There are two survivors' benefits with the VA. The first is the one we'll concentrate on today. That's DIC, or Dependency and Indemnity Compensation. The second is a survivor's pension. With a survivor's pension, remember that the veteran has to be a wartime veteran in order for the survivor to qualify. The veteran didn't have to fight in the war, but they did have to be in service during one of the VA recognized wartime periods. I'll have the link to the list of wartime periods below in the video description. Now for DIC, the important thing is to know that in order for the survivor to be eligible, in most instances, the veteran had to be 100% disabled, as rated by the VA, for at least 10 years. Or the veteran had to have died from a service-connected disability. Now this is where the PACT Act comes in, Service-Connected Disabilities. The two ways the PACT Act might be able to help is with locations and time periods. We're going to take a look at veterans who may have been exposed to radiation, who may have been exposed to Agent Orange, and wind up with toxic exposure in the Gulf War and beyond. Now for radiation-exposed veterans, the VA has established this list of cancers as being presumptive of radiation exposure. You'll notice it's a rather extensive list. Here is the thing. If you are a surviving spouse, or in some instances, a surviving parent or surviving child of a veteran who died from any of these cancers, do some research to see if they were in any location or job in the military where they might have been exposed to radiation. There are some areas which have been added to the list of radiation sources that have been considered presumptive by the VA. Now the first is at the cleanup of Inuiatok Atoll. Now this was from January 1st, 1977 to December 31st, 1980. If you have a veteran who has died from one of those cancers mentioned and they told you that they were at Inuiatok Atoll, talk to a veteran service officer and file for DIC. Pay attention, you may have to search for evidence that they were actually at the atoll, but that can usually be found in things like orders, maybe in photos, letters, things like that. The other two places added to the list are the nuclear response near Palomares, Spain, or near Thule, Greenland. You can see the dates on the screen, but Spain was January 17th, 1966 to March 31st, 1967, and Greenland was January 21st to September 25th, 1968. If you have a veteran who died of one of the cancers on the cancer slide, and you can show evidence that they were in one of these places helping with the response, talk to a veteran service officer about filing for DIC. Now let's look at Agent Orange. These are the locations added. In Thailand, on any U.S. or Royal Thai base, January 9th, 1962 to June 30th, 1976. This is important, without regard as to where on base the veteran was or what military job they were performing. Understand, there are veterans who were on, of course, the military bases there with the U.S., and many were also on Royal Thai bases. And up until the PACT Act, there were a couple of the bases that were considered to be to have had Agent Orange used around the perimeter. But the only way that veterans could get really that they would be believed that they were exposed to Agent Orange is if they had been on the flight line or if they'd been right near the perimeter. With the PACT Act, it no longer matters where on base they were or what military job they were performing. They are assumed to have been exposed to Agent Orange. The next place that was added was Laos, December 1st, 65 to September 30th, 69. Then Cambodia, in Maimat or Krek. That's in the Kampong Cham province, April 16th to the 30th, 1969. Guam or America Samoa, including their territorial waters, January 9th, 62 to July 30th, 1980. and Johnston Atoll, or on a ship which called at the Johnston Atoll January 1st, 72 to September 30th, 77. Okay, what does all this mean? I'm going to add a link at the bottom in the description to the VA page that shows the Agent Orange presumptive conditions. Up until the PACT Act, the VA has not recognized these places that are on the slide here as being presumptive for Agent Orange. So if you had a veteran who passed away from one of the presumptives, and they were located, say, on a base in Thailand, then chances are the death was not ruled service-connected, and so the survivor could not get DIC. Well, with the PACT Act coming out and adding these locations, if the veteran was, say, for example, on a U.S. base in Thailand, anytime between January 9th, 62 and June 30th, 76, then they are presumed to have been exposed to Agent Orange, and that means that if they died of one of the conditions from Agent Orange, then their death will be presumed to have been service-connected. So the survivor can turn around, file for DIC, and go ahead and be awarded it. Now, it may take some digging, it may take some work to find out where they were located, to get evidence they were located there, especially if it's not on a DD-214 or something like that. Don't give up. Keep digging, keep searching. You may be able to find something like an award or orders sending them there. You may be able to contact a friend of theirs that they were in the service with who was stationed at the place at the same time they were, and they would provide a letter for you to that end. Don't give up. Look for evidence of any type that they were in the location so that the survivor can file for the DIC. Two additions to the Agent Orange presumptive conditions. These were monoclonal gammopathy and hypertension. If you have monoclonal gammopathy, you know what it is. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. We all know hypertension is another name for high blood pressure. This is one that veterans have been trying to get on the books for years. So yes, for all the Vietnam veterans out there, go ahead and file a disability claim now for high blood pressure. And then finally, the PACT Act deals with toxic exposure. For veterans who were deployed to one of the dozen or so countries during the Gulf War and beyond, OIF, OEF, and all the contingency operations, we know toxic exposure as exposure to burn pits or to the burning oil wells. However, there are more toxic substances than just those that soldiers were exposed to. In the end, substance isn't as important for the claim. If the veteran was present in any of the countries on the list, or, this is important, in the airspace above them, they are presumed to have been exposed to toxins. Therefore, they are eligible to file for disability for any of the listed conditions. And once again, yes, I'm going to list the countries and the conditions. I'm going to have the link in the description of the video. If you have a veteran who has already died of any of the listed conditions and they were deployed to one of the listed countries, again, talk to your local veteran service officer, get a claim filed immediately. So that's it. With the addition of locations for Agent Orange and radiation, as well as the list of conditions for toxic exposure, if you have a veteran who has passed away for any of these mentioned conditions, and they were in the right place at the right time, and you can prove that, that may be the hard part, proving it, but if you can prove that, then you as a survivor are eligible for DIC. Now, last time I looked at the numbers, that was about anywhere between $1,300 and $1,600 a month. Okay? Talk to a local veteran service officer, file for it. As always, if what we're doing here is helpful, Please share the information with other veterans and family members. This one especially, please share it with survivors, with other veterans, so they can tell their spouses, their family members. This is the kind of information we need to get out to as many as possible. You can hit the share button below. You can email it. You can share it on social media. I don't care how the word gets out. Just get the word out. With the PACT Act taking effect, then it opens the door for a lot of survivors who, let's face it, are struggling in the economy we have right now to be able to file for a monthly compensation. Be sure and hit like below and hit subscribe to keep up with new content. And until next time, y'all take care of each other out there. This is NWA Vet.